We've tried to connect with patients and families more than we would have otherwise, but actually there's been quite a lot of focus on staff experience and the link with staff experience to patient experience. I feel we shouldn't be doing anything without looking through the patient experience and the patient perspective. And it is an art, it is, you know, a skill that takes a bit of time and commitment, but I feel we shouldn't be doing any work without looking at the patient perspective alongside.
My role in the PFCC work was to do patient shadowing, so we had some baseline data to go on, but mine was literally to sit at the side of a bed with a parent or with a teenager who was admitted onto the ward with asthma. You know, they linked up to machines and trying to watch their telly, and I'm sitting there with a questionnaire sheet. So I did do interviews and I did a questionnaire how they were actually feeling on a score of 1 to 10. But the most I got out of it was to sit and actually do a patient shadowing by a scared mum, maybe from an ethnic minority. She didn't know she could ask any questions, she didn't know she could speak up for herself or to ask what that machine was bleeping away for. So I did want to kind of speak for her, but my role was to do the shadowing experience. For me, emotional. You know, I'm a mother, I've got 2 sons, so, you know, some of these mums couldn't speak much English. Other mums had 3 or 4 children at school that they'd got to get back home for the school run. No one was giving them any information. So I really did at this point want to shout up and say, this mum's got to get off now, you know. Can we have some expected time that we're going home? What are we actually sitting waiting for? So for me it was frustrating, quite emotional on many occasions for some of the mums, but very enlightening. I'll know what to ask for when I have to go onto a ward with one of my children or one of my family members in future. So it was quite an eye-opener. People who were looking at this data could actually get a feel of time scales of what was actually happening. They thought people were getting a 3-hour discharge. It was more like 6 or 7 hours. So that was good, actually typing it up for someone to sit and read afterwards.
When we started seeing things from the patient's eyes, then it completely changed the approach that we took. And just as an example, all of us, all the guiding council, shadowed patients, but my experience of shadowing patients has stayed with me very powerfully ever since, actually. And this was an experience of shadowing a mother of a child with asthma, and that child had come in with an asthma attack, and she was put onto a cubicle on my ward, and I was shocked by what she saw. Actually, she was put into that cubicle. The little boy had a saturation monitor placed on his finger, and the door was closed, and a few minutes later those saturations started to drop to 92, 91, 90, 88%. And all the while the alarm was going, and the mother, when I asked her what she was thinking, said, well, you know, the alarm's going, but the nurses look really busy outside and I don't want to disturb them, and I don't think it's that serious, but I'm not quite sure. And this mother was actually a health visitor, so she had some medical knowledge and some expertise, and yet she was still reluctant to actually pull the alarm cord. And that transformed really the way I thought about safety on my own ward. And from that, we took some very clear actions. We simply increased the volume of the alarms so that they could be audible from the nurse's station, which was just down the corridor. We issued or produced a leaflet to give to parents when they came into our assessment unit, empowering them to pull the alarm cord if the alarm went off, rather than simply hesitating. And those 2 interventions cost nothing, probably made a huge difference to the safety and security of the ward, and transformed the experience of those mothers or those parents of children with asthma. And that was all really driven by a single episode of me sharing an experience with a patient.